On today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the NECA Planet of the Apes Cornelius. Cornelius comes to us from the classic line of Planet of the Apes figures, which more reminiscent from the Charlton Heston era of Planet of the Apes movies. It is recommended for ages 14 and up and features a really neat image of Cornelius down below there. I'm not sure what Cornelius comes with. It almost looks like it comes with like a wooden bottle, but we'll find out when we get this opened up. On the side, there's Planet of the Apes, a little motif going on there as well. Same thing on the other side. And the back, Cornelius, the read-up says, an archaeological scientist and a member of the scientific staff of Dr. Zaius. While supporting the status quo, Cornelius has begun to question the infallibility of sacred scrolls and is considering the validity of evolution, specifically from humans to ape, to explain the scientific gaps in the scrolls. Be on the lookout for the other figures in Series 1. There's Cornelius, Gorilla Soldier, and Dr. Zaius. And then on the underside of the package, be sure to head over to www.necaonline.com. You can check out more from the folks over at NECA Studios. And there are the individuals here responsible for producing Cornelius. Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. Certainly when we come back, we can get a better look at the NECA Planet of the Apes Cornelius. Don't go anywhere, guys. There's more heading your way. Stay tuned. For your accessories, Cornelius does actually come with the scrolls. In the packaging, it kind of looked like a wine bottle or like a wooden bottle. But you can see that where the section would roll open to reveal the scrolls inside. Really some nice paint on the piece. And Spot really sounds like a broken record when I say this for really a lot of NECA pieces. But I mean, even something small like this, they do take the time to paint a very intricate looking paint motif on it. So really phenomenal work. Putting that to the side and having a look at Cornelius, it's just such an impressive looking piece. Now, by comparison to, say, the likes of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, where we had a little more of a realistic approach to the apes' designs, the classic designs of the original Planet of the Apes movies were more so people just wearing masks. They definitely stood a little more upright than what we would get with later Apes movies. But you know what? As a fan of the original Planet of the Apes, and Spot used to watch so many Planet of the Apes movies, especially when they did the marathons on TV, and they would do the Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes. I mean, it was just, I absolutely loved growing up watching Planet of the Apes movies. And to me, seeing what NECA has produced with these figures has just, it brings me back to my childhood of growing up watching those movies. And, whenever I had the chance, my parents would let me stay up and watch movies. Planet of the Apes was one of the movies that I would be staying up late on a Friday night, watching on TV. Just such great memories of the movie property. Just an absolute justice I think they've done to the service of the figures here. They're a little more basic, I guess, in costumes as well. They would have the ape hands and equally so the ape shoes, indicating that this would be an ape foot on the inside of the shoes. But like the coloring, though, equally so. And this is one thing that Spot usually always says too. You can have an amazing sculpt, but if the paint isn't very good, you can lose a figure completely. And the one thing about NECA pieces is, as equally awesome as the sculpt is on the faces and the suits, the paint is as equally impressive. You can see like all the little creases and the indentations of Cornelius's face, all brought forth with a really bang-up paint job. As well as the fur in his face and in his hair. It's not just one color brown. It looks like there's several different layers of brown in there as well, a dark and a lighter brown. Again, all bring those details to the forefront. When you start getting to like the rest of his body, it's not as heavily painted In fact, like the rest of his body is more like an olive colored green. And then we've got the brown on the top there, again with the motif, the scroll motif on the front and sides of his sleeve. But it's just such a great piece. Like this section right here as well, perhaps they're reusing certain body molds. This section right here is a more pliable rubber, also giving us more a flexible notion, especially when you start moving like torso pieces. When you start moving the torsos, the suits that they're wearing also give you, because it is rubbery, also gives you that sense that it's moving like fabric. And just again, like this is all a rubber pliable plastic. For your articulation, he does have the articulation that you would come to expect now with new NECA pieces. He does have a ball joint in the head, and you know, really, you can move the head quite well. Not only a pivot left and right, he can look down, he can look up. You know, you can rotate the head probably all the way around. I wouldn't maybe advise it, especially when you start hitting a resistance point right there. It looks like the interior of the head also, they used a ball hinge joint as opposed to just a ball joint. So that is what's affording the additional movement up and down on Cornelius. When you get to his shoulders are also on that pin hinge socket as well. So the arms move out, forward and back. He does have a bend and rotation in the forearm. Equally, a rotation in the hand as well. A little more limited, but you can still rotate the hands there. Because he still has this piece over top of his torso, while he does still have the movement, you can't move it as well as, let's say, you know, a figure that wouldn't have had this piece over top of it. But still, you have the full rotation in the waist, and then when it comes to the legs go forward, back, out. Also that ball hinge joint, and it also allows you to swivel. You know, the thing is too, like, you usually have like a figure that's either super articulated or super sculpted, and you know, NECA really is hitting that middle mark for producing highly detailed replica pieces while still giving us the full articulation. I mean, we started seeing a lot of that surface, like the Friday the 13th Jason, where we were getting more articulation in the legs. And, you know, I'm really feeling like NECA's perfecting what they're doing when it comes to articulation. Like, you know, you can look at a piece like this and expect it to have just a straight swivel in arms and in legs. But when you start really getting into the articulation on it, you really start seeing, yeah, a lot of that is so hidden and so done well, especially like even like the bend at the knee. Because they've put the fold over of the knee over top of the joint, you don't see the joint until you start moving it and rotating, you know, things like legs and whatnot. Foot also is on a pin hinge socket or ball hinge socket as well. So it rotates all the way around and, you know, up and down as well. He does have peg points, though he doesn't come with a display stand. But I think NECA is also going to be producing clear display stands. So ultimately, if I do want these displayed in any more of a dramatic pose than what they're doing right now, possibly then I might look to get clear stands, and then I can have you know, Cornelius standing a little more than, you know, just the straight standing pose that he has right now. Getting the scrolls into his hand, they kind of just, you can kind of just clip them into his hand, like maybe he could be holding them, like though questioning again the origin of the apes. It's such a, again, a phenomenal piece. Spot actually was able to pick up all three figures, so we're going to be having a look at those individually. But Cornelius definitely sets the bar high. Realistic to apes, perhaps, maybe no, but realistic to the Planet of the Apes classic movies, an absolute yes. Cornelius hits all the marks, and again, NECA shows why they're the kings of action figures. Super sculpted, super beautiful pieces, but still the articulation that we can get to put these pieces in some dramatic poses. Cornelius, I am going to give you, sir, a 9.5. If you are a fan of the classic Planet of the Apes movies, and if you probably are my age bracket, you grew up loving these probably as much as I did, you definitely would want to get these in your collection. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the NECA classic Planet of the Apes figures. This was Series 1, and we were having a look at Cornelius. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have the review, like I said, of the other two Planet of the Apes figures. Those will be definitely heading your way. Thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.